What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, I want to discuss something that I thought was very, very interesting and needed to be addressed. And that's Colin Cowherd, okay, of the Cowherd Show, right? Today discussed the fact that there are professional boxers that are upset with the situation with YouTube sensation turned professional boxer Jake Paul and Jake Paul's recent fight with Tommy Fury. Now, what's interesting to note is that Jake Paul is new to the sport of boxing as a professional, right? He picked up the sport of boxing at 22, 23 years of age. He has a total of 7 fights, 6 wins, 1 loss, no draw, 4 wins by way of knockout. 26 years of age, 6'1" with a 76-inch arm reach. And he fought against Tommy Fury, who went into the fight with 8 fights total, 8 wins, no loss, no draw, 4 wins by way of knockout. At 23 years of age, 6 feet tall with a 74-inch arm reach, right? And many people, they like to push off Jake Paul as a sideshow, right? A gimmick within the sport of boxing. Many boxers are upset with Jake Paul's ability to, to get a lot of momentum, to get a lot of attention, a lot of exposure, right? And hasn't done anything within the sport of boxing. He was already rich before he got into the sport of boxing. And obviously this was geared towards undefeated 3-division world champion superstar boxer who simultaneously held the WBA super title at super featherweight, the WBA regular title at lightweight, and the WBA regular title at junior welterweight, superstar boxer Gervonta Tank Davis. Gervonta Tank Davis is 28 wins, no loss, no draw, 26 big wins by way of knockout, 28 years of age, 5'5", with a 67-inch arm reach. Recently, Gervonta Tank Davis, an Olympic 2-time gold medalist, 3-division world champion, undisputed in 2 separate weight classes, the GOAT, greatest woman of all time, Clarissa T-Rex Shields, who had a big fight, who paved the way, who's created some, avenues and lanes for women's boxing. Clarissa Shields has made she's a road paver, right? Clarissa Shields is definitely a road paver with 13 fights, 13 wins, no loss, no draw, 2 wins by way of knockout, 27 years of age, 5'8" with a 68-inch arm reach. She has 2 major fights with 2 big fights, 2 of the biggest fights in women's boxing history with Savannah Marshall and Christina Hammer, right? Now, Gervonta Tank Davis is a bigger draw than Clarissa Shields. But Clarissa Shields has had more iconic, legendary fights, legacy fights in her career than Gervonta Tank Davis has had. The opposition she's faced off against. Now, Gervonta Tank Davis is a massive draw. But Gervonta Tank Davis recently responded, according to Clarissa Shields, he responded to Clarissa Shields taking a high road and uplifting Jake Paul after Jake Paul suffered the first loss. Jake Paul is very brash, very outspoken, he's essentially, he has nothing to lose, right? Because he's already very, very wealthy, well, rich. There's a difference between being rich and wealthy. He's already rich, right? Jake Paul is, before he even got into the sport of boxing. So, he has nothing to lose, where these fighters have something to lose. So Gervonta Tank Davis, Clarissa Shields said, gave him words of encouragement, pat him on the back. You tried, you know what I mean? Obviously he lost to Tommy Fury. He was talking big talk and he came up short. So Clarissa Shields is like, well, listen, you came up short, but you tried, kudos to you, hats off to you. Pick yourself up, congratulations, and come back stronger, essentially is what she's saying. I'm paraphrasing. And Gervonta Tank Davis wasn't happy about that. And he said that, a lot of these real fighters are D-Rod and Jake Paul, but they don't treat him like every other boxer. If another boxer loses, everybody jumps on him and pounces on him immediately. But with Jake Paul, people is uplifting them. So Clarissa Shields, she took offense to that, and she stated, ain't nobody D-Rod and Jake Paul. Ain't no point in me kicking them right down. I'm already well accomplished, well established in my own career. So why my real champions don't kick another champion, another fighter down when they lose? You uplift them regardless of what happened between me and Jake Paul. So now Clarissa Shields and Jake Paul went back and forth for a hot second. And she's like, I'm taking the high road. I could kick him right down, but I'm going to take the high road and uplift Jake Paul instead of downing him, right? And Gervonta Tank Davis wasn't happy about that. Clarissa Shields then goes on to say, I know secrets, so on and so forth, right? So with that said, the thing is, Jake Paul don't have the same to lose as these other fighters, right? So the meaning of what these other fighters are doing compared to what Jake Paul, when they fighting in the ring, the risk versus the reward is extremely different, right? Because a fighter of Gervonta Tank Davis status loses, then he essentially could lose everything. Jake Paul, he's not. So that brings me to this. Why are fighters mad at Jake Paul? Because Jake Paul understood. Now, again, he don't have the pressure of losing, right? Because he's already established outside the sport of boxing. So he's not worrying about boxing feeding his family or feeding himself. He don't need boxing to feed him or himself. So he don't have no pressure. He has nothing to lose. These other fighters who look at boxing to feed their family, they have something to lose. So that's why they're taking offense to Jake Paul, right? And then the purses come out. Jake Paul is made 25, according to these reports. Now, I don't know how true it is, how official it is, but Jake Paul made $25 million, and Tommy Fury made $7 million, guaranteed purses. That's $32 million with two guys that came into this fight with a total of 14 fights. Tommy Fury had 8 fights. Jake Paul had 6. Right? So they had 14 fights in total and made $32 million. Okay? Gervonta Tank Davis is not making $25 million per fight. He's just not. And he's probably making around the $7 million that Tommy Fury's making, or maybe more. Right? But Tommy Fury hasn't fought anybody. Jake Paul obviously hasn't fought anybody. But they're marketing geniuses, and they have help. And so that's why a lot of fighters are upset with Jake Paul, and they don't like Jake Paul. And then he's outspoken, and he's very cocky, confident, and brash, right? So people don't like Jake Paul because of that, right? Jake Paul is making more money than all of these fighters. Hands down. Jake Paul is with only 6 fights. Jake Paul has changed the sport of boxing for women, making sure that women boxers are getting millions of dollars. Jake Paul did that. Women boxing, women were not making $1 million in any fight. He created history for Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor. We could not get Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano over the hump. For years, we talked about that being a big fight, a major fight, and we couldn't get it to come to fruition. Jake Paul comes into the sport of boxing and immediately gets that fight to come to fruition. Not only did he get the fight to come to fruition, but he made sure they got life-changing money for them. He made a difference within the sport of boxing. Now, you have a lot of male fighters that claim to support Clarissa Shields, Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor, so on and so forth, but they ain't making sure that Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano, Clarissa Shields is getting $1 million for a fight. Savannah Marshall. Jake Paul came in and changed the game. He came in and changed the game for women's boxing and made sure they got $1 million. But again, all these male boxers that come in, now again, they don't have the same funds and so on and so forth that Jake Paul has. But they all claim to support these women boxers and salute them, but they ain't making sure that they making life-changing money. Jake Paul did that. Jake Paul making $25 million in this fight, and Tommy Fury making $7 million. They're making more than everybody. Jake Paul made more money than Gennady Golovkin did to fight Canelo Alvarez. Now, they reported that Canelo Alvarez made $45 million to fight Gennady Golovkin. I don't know how true that is. That's a lot of money. I don't know how true that is. But that would be Canelo Alvarez. I don't know how much he got to fight Floyd Mayweather, but $45 million. Jake Paul almost making about the same amount of money Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez, the face of sport of boxing, supposedly 4-division champion, undisputed. Jake Paul got 6 fights. It's marketing. And so Colin Cowherd on Fox Sports. Now the PBC has a contract and a deal with Fox Sports. On Fox Sports, Colin Cowherd goes on there and they're talking about Jake Paul fighting Tommy Fury. They're not even talking about Gervonta Tank Davis fighting Ryan Garcia. They're not talking about Gervonta Tank Davis fighting Ryan Garcia. But they talking about, which is a massive fight in boxing. But they talking about Tommy Fury and Jake Paul. You know why? Marketing, drawing, commercializing. That's what that's about. And because the sport of boxing don't give you the best fight and the best enough, it becomes an afterthought. This is what the politics in the sport of boxing have done. And they have carved out a niche and a lane for the Jake Pauls of the world. So don't be mad at Jake Paul, be mad at your sport. Instead of us getting the best fight and the best. In women's boxing, you getting the best fight and the best. Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano. They on the verge of fighting twice. Now, Amanda Serrano just suffered an injury, so the date got postponed to another date. But they already fought, and now they're going to have another fight. Carissa Shields and Savannah Marshall, they talking about having another fight. They already fought. That's a major fight. She fought Christina Hammer. Alicia Baumgartner fought Mikkel Meyer. She's undisputed now, Alicia Baumgartner. Cecilia Brækhus. These women are fighting each other. The best are fighting the best. They're not doing that in the males. But they're blaming Jake Paul for Jake Paul coming in and being able to make a market name for himself in the sport of boxing that they love, that they grew hard for. And he don't have to do that. Well, you opened the lane for the best, because the best not fighting the best. And y'all dealing with the politics. Well, this fighter ain't fighting this fighter because this happened in that fight. That don't happen in no other sports. That don't happen in NFL, in NBA, the NHL, Major League Baseball. You're going to see the Yankees and the Dodgers play guaranteed in 2023. You're going to see the Yankees and the Red Sox play guaranteed in 2023. You're going to see the Mets and the Phillies play in 2023. You're going to see LeBron James versus Kevin Durant in 2023. You're going to see Joel Embiid versus the Joker from the Denver Nuggets. You're going to see that matchup. You're going to see Steph Curry and Dame Lillard. Guaranteed. Unless barring an injury. In the NFL, you're going to see the San Francisco 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys play each other. You're going to see the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys play each other. You're going to see the Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos play each other. You're going to see the Eagles and the Cowboys play each other. You're going to see the Eagles and the Giants play each other. You're going to see these rivalries unfold. You ain't going to see that in boxing. You may never, ever see the fight in boxing. And that's where the problem lies. It's not Jake Paul. It's the fighters, period. They need to take control of their reins, take control of their sport, make the best fight the best. Don't let the networks and the promoters and the managers and advisors deter them from fighting each other. And then guess what? There won't be no lane for Jake Paul to come in and make a mark because it'd be already airtight. But because it ain't airtight, it's wide open. It's the Wild Wild West. Well, you open the lane for Jake Paul to come in and be able to do what he's doing. It ain't Jake Paul's fault. And now you have Colin Cowherd talking about Jake Paul and Tommy Fury. Never made mention of Gervonta Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia. Ever. Didn't make mention of David Benavidez, Caleb Plant. Didn't make mention of Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. Didn't make mention of Errol Spence and Keith Thurman. Didn't make mention of Terrence Crawford versus Alexis Roca. They ain't talking about that. They don't care. Because the best ain't fighting the best, regardless of who you think fault it is. At the end of the day, it's the fighter's fault, period. And that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue. Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like your shitty videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.